You know, when most of us picture the construction of massive, deeply classified underground bases, we immediately think of the noise, right? The deafening roar of mechanical tunnel boring machines, those massive rotary cutting heads just grinding away at solid bedrock, and the endless convoys of dump trucks hauling away all that dirt. But what if that assumption is completely backwards? The unclassified documents we're unpacking in today's Explainer Challenge that exact premise. They reveal a completely different empirical reality that's been sitting right there in the Department of Energy archives since the 1970s. They prove that the most advanced subterranean facilities aren't dug at all. They're literally melted into perfect, solid glass. So welcome to our explainer on the Los Alamos Subterranean field tests. To really understand this shift, you have to compare traditional mechanical drilling with the nuclear subterrane. Conventional drilling relies on kinetic force, right? Which means it suffers from immense friction, requires constant, expensive maintenance, and creates absolute mountains of debris. The subterrane, on the other hand, relies on extreme thermodynamics to just bypass friction entirely. It offers this incredibly silent, zero-debris elegance. It doesn't grind the rock, it liquefies it.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our agenda for today. 1. The logistical nightmare. 2. The thermodynamic solution. 3. The mathematics of melting. 4. The Los Alamos tests. And finally, 5. Going black.
Section 1. The logistical nightmare. The problem with mechanical drills.
So think back to the Cold War. Building deep underground military bases, often referred to as DUMBs, beneath places like the Cheyenne Mountain Complex presented a massive vulnerability. You simply cannot hide the excavation of millions of tons of rock from sub-meter optical resolution spy satellites. The Soviet KH-9 hexagon, for example, would spot that instantly. In the tunneling industry, all this excavated debris is known as muck. Traditional mechanical drills using those heavy-duty tungsten carbide rotary tricone bits suffer from severe kinetic friction against ultra-hard igneous rock like granite. They produce literal mountains of this muck, which creates a massive, undeniable logistical footprint right on the surface.
Moving on to Section 2. The thermodynamic solution. Leaving the drill behind.
To solve this literally insurmountable logistical headache, theoretical physicists and geologists over at the Los Alamos Scientific Laboratory proposed an entirely new machine, the Subterrene. Instead of chewing through rock, it featured a conical penetrator forged from ultra-high-temperature refractory metals. We're talking specifically about molybdenum, which melts at over 2,600 degrees Celsius, or tungsten, which melts at over 3,400 degrees. By heating this solid penetrator internally, it used conductive heat transfer to conquer the bedrock thermally, rather than mechanically. It's a completely different paradigm. And get this, the operating temperatures were absolutely staggering. Los Alamos engineers pushed these tungsten penetrators to a blistering 1,500 degrees Celsius. That kind of thermal load completely shatters the melting point of silicate rock and quartz-rich granite. The machine doesn't crush the rock, it literally turns the solid granite face into a highly viscous layer of liquid magma.
With liquid hot magma.
Which brings us to Section 3, the mathematics of melting, the physics of phase change.
Now, this isn't science fiction at all. It's undeniable thermodynamics, governed by this exact energy equation from the engineering reports. Q equals mc delta T plus mL sub F. By applying immense thermal energy, that's the Q right there, the subterrane overcomes not just the temperature gradient, but the actual latent heat of fusion of the rock. That's the L sub F part of the equation. Mathematically, it is forcing a phase change, guaranteeing that the solid granite has absolutely no choice but to yield and become liquid magma.
With liquid hot magma.
The debris management happens in 4 incredibly elegant steps. First, the penetrator transfers intense heat, melting the rock into magma.
With liquid hot magma.
Then, and honestly this is the genius of the geometry here, the consolidating penetrator uses immense hydraulic pressure to force that liquid magma radially outward into the microscopic voids and fissures of the cooler surrounding Earth. Finally, the magma quenches.
With liquid hot magma.
Cooling almost instantly into vitrified glass. And this leads to a really profound realization straight from the engineering reports. There is no excavated rock to haul away because the rock is melted into the walls. This one design basically solves the 2 greatest problems of subterranean construction simultaneously. First, it completely eliminates the surface debris footprint for total stealth. And second, as that molten rock cools, it forms a structurally perfect obsidian-like glass lining along the tunnel wall.
It literally cases and reinforces its own tunnel as it bores, entirely removing the need for massive steel or concrete reinforcements. It's brilliant.
Section 4. The Los Alamos tests, the empirical evidence. Now, you might be wondering, did they actually build this thing? Yes, this technology moved right out of the laboratory and straight into the New Mexico desert, leaving a trail of unclassified receipts permanently archived by the Department of Energy. In 1972, key engineers Robert E. Riley and John C. Rowley secured U.S. patent 3693731A. These are the literal legal blueprints for the technology. The patent explicitly details using liquid lithium heat pipes and a compact nuclear fission reactor for power. And the empirical field data? That followed right after in official publications like the 1973 Los Alamos Scientific Laboratory Report, LA5206-MS. Those field tests proved the mathematics were absolutely 100% sound. In the spring of 1973, under Raleigh's direction, the team used a 3-inch diameter electrically heated penetrator near the Gemmas Pueblo. They successfully melted a 50-foot, self-supporting, perfectly glass-lined hole straight into volcanic tuff. Then, the very next year, in 1974, they scaled it up at the Bandelier Tuff sites. They deployed a larger 4.5-inch coring penetrator and successfully bored straight through dense basalt and solid, quartz-rich granite. It was entirely silent, it left absolutely zero debris, and it empirically proved the thermodynamic melting principle on some of the hardest geological formations on planet Earth. So let's take a look at the timeline, because this builds up to a very abrupt climax. We have the patent in 1972, the successful Tuft tests in 73, and the highly successful basalt and granite tests in 74, where they proved the concept outright. I mean, they have the validated blueprints for a full-scale nuclear-powered machine that could silently melt through the Earth's crust. And then, nothing. In 1976, the program is just suddenly and officially defunded. Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, Going Black, the sudden disappearance. Despite this overwhelming technical success, the Department of Energy issued this sanitized public statement claiming the Subterrane program was simply too expensive to develop for commercial application. And just like that, the public-facing project vanished. But as noted in the analysis, the technology did not fail. It went completely black. The real implication here is that this was the exact threshold where a wildly successful experimental civilian science project crossed over into highly classified, unacknowledged special access program deployment. I mean, it was exactly what the military needed to silently expand subterranean infrastructure without alerting those orbital spy satellites. All of this leaves us with a truly provocative final thought. The physics work. The patents exist, the field tests were undeniably successful, and they're sitting right there in the public record. If the defense apparatus possessed the perfect zero-debris thermodynamic excavation technology way back in 1976, where and exactly how deep are they melting tunnels today? It is a fascinating look at the forgotten history of engineering and a pretty powerful reminder of just how quickly revolutionary technology can disappear from the public eye.
With liquid hot magma.